good people, what is going on? Another episode of the All Go Podcast. Wanted to talk about a quarterback, one Matthew Stafford. As everybody knows, he won the championship last year with the Rams. He played pretty darn well, especially down the stretch in the playoffs. And the Rams' first game, they played the Bills. They got boat raced. I think it was like 31-10, something like that. And my question to you has Matt Stafford changed? And what I mean by that is, I am someone who watched I would say 90% of Matt Stafford's snaps when he was in Detroit. I'm a Lions fan, unfortunately. And I've seen him play a whole bunch of football, a whole lot of snaps. And the thing that I used to say about Stafford, especially within the last 2 to 3 years that he was with Detroit, was he is good enough to get you in the big games, but then he's going to turn around and lose those big games. He will have stretches of football where you look at him and think he is absolutely the best quarterback in the NFL. And then he's also going to have stretches where you look at him, and really, overall, it's actually not stretches, just moments where he will make a bonehead decision, a bonehead play, where you're like, dude, that's the one thing we couldn't have happen, and that's what you did. He's one that, we'll have a game and I think a lot of people look at box scores and that's all they rely on, especially when you're talking about the Detroit Lions. Nobody's really watching the Lions play football. Sorry, but I'm not that crazy. And you'd see a game where Stafford has 350 yards passing, throws 2 or 3 touchdowns, and has 1 pick. And if you don't watch the game, you would see it and think, gosh, man, the Lions around him, the team around him really sucks. Because if you do that, man, you should win that game. And now that part is true. You should. But what also people miss is that, when the interception is thrown by Stafford, it is in a critical, crucial moment in the game where you just can't have an interception. Like you're driving to take the lead or you're driving to tie it up and you throw a pick. And I just feel like with Stafford, he has tendencies to do that, where he'll just make the 1 or 2 throws that are just going to kill you. Like he'll rarely have the A+ game. Like he'll have an A+ game for a while and then make 1 or 2 decisions where it's like, yeah, that brings that down to a B+ game. Like just something kind of foolish. And even in the championship run that they had, if you remember, that San Francisco game was pretty tight at one point. And Stafford threw an absolute punt in the middle of the field, and San Francisco's safety just dropped it. He just dropped it. I have no idea what Stafford was looking at, but he punted the ball up in the air, and the safety dropped it. If the safety catches that pass, we're having a whole different discussion on, Stafford and his quote-unquote legacy. I think he was going to be a Hall of Famer before he even played a down for the Rams. Thought that was going to happen either way. He just has too many yards, too many touchdowns. Like he's got the volume that he was definitely going to get in, and he played long enough. But nonetheless, the guy dropped it. They go on and win the Super Bowl. But I would make an argument that he really hasn't changed that much. I think what's changed is around him. He's got a really good team around him that can withstand those mistakes. Whereas when you play with the Lions, we're in general not good enough to live with those mistakes. I mean, we had a couple years where our defense was really good, which I think that was in the 2013, 2014 year. I mean, we had Sue, I believe a young Darius Slay, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, we had a defense that was statistically ranked number 2, and we lost a playoff game. So it's overall, both things can be true. Detroit can be a bad franchise. That is true. But also at the same time, Matt Stafford was not completely clear of blame. He wasn't carrying most of the blame or of that percentage, that pie, if you will. But it wasn't as if none of it was his fault. But it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts. Appreciate it. Peace.